I'm first. Golden rings, you ain't cold as me. On my worst day, I'm frozen dreams. Big as overseas, never quit like some anime. Watch your noses bleed, cause I'm hot.
Hey everybody, what's good? We're here to talk about why 9.6 to 9.0s aren't as bad as you think. But first, click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, hit a like. So every single time I drop comic book and videos, video game gameplay, we're in the Guardians, we're in the Ratchet and Clank reactions, we're in the Ippo. I'm going to start doing Attack on Titan final season part 2 reaction soon. So hey, get on the hype train because we're rolling. But all right, guys. So why 9.6 to 9.0s aren't as bad as you think? And so this is interesting because of just videos that I've seen on YouTube of reaction, like unboxings and stuff like that. And whenever, especially if there was a book that they thought was a 9.8 and it got a 9.6, it just felt so bummed and really, sad about it and stuff like that. And I kind of think of it differently, honestly, in a way. And so I think for me, honestly, the grades 9.0 to 9.8 or whatever, the reason why you get these grades is usually because it's 9 times out of 10 a pressable flaw in the book. You may have a rub near the staple, and those are kind of common. I've seen 9.8 to have those and stuff. And that's not necessarily, sometimes that's a printer error. Sometimes that's just how the books were shipped and that's just how it goes. That's just how it comes. But usually, when it comes to 9.8s to 9.0s, the issue is usually always a pressable factor that comes into it. Something that happened with the book that could be pressed out in the right hands, when a presser that knows what they're doing can actually press that book out and really get that book back to what it was doing. And I've seen results. I've seen people that have gotten books that look like there's no way that book is going to come back the way that it came after a press. And sure enough, it's like that dent or that crunch didn't even happen. Like, it is crazy. And so I think we have to kind of really change our mindset when it comes to how we collect and why we collect, how we collect, and what these grades truly mean. And so when I get a 9, like with the Gwen Stacy and the Spider-Man Noir, I really wanted them to hit 9.8, but they both hit 9.6, and I'm not mad about that. Because honestly, it's 9 times out of 10 a pressable reason why that book didn't get the 9.8 in it. And it just takes multiple presses. Sometimes it just takes the right grader. Grading is subjective. What some people think is a 9.8, maybe a 9.6. What people think is a 9.0 might be a 9.4. Like, it depends on who is grading the book and how they view the characteristics of that said book. And so I think, to me, we really have to kind of open our eyes to the grading system and really use it to our advantage instead of making it seem like it's at a disadvantage. And so when people say, "Ooh, it looks like CGC is grading harder now," or CBCS is grading harder now, I don't think it's that they're grading harder now. I think it's because the quality of that book isn't up to the standard of what the grade you thought it was going to be. And so it is, like I said, it's tricky. It's tricky. There might be hard graders out there, but I think border down the line, if they talk to each other and look at this book and say that this is a 9.8, but somebody thinks it's a 9.6, I mean, that's just how that grader views that book. But it just depends on the grader. But if you can do everything that you can to make sure that book gets the grade that you want it to get, like my Vengeance 1 or whatever had some issues in it, and I was just hoping for a 9.4, 9.6. I knew it wasn't a 9.8, but I was hoping for a 9.4, 9.6 in that book, because I was just like, man, I know in the right hands, this book could really get the grade that I wanted to get. And sure enough, I got the 9.4. But that just goes into giving it to the person that specializes in certain stuff. And that's kind of what this video is kind of about. While like these those grades aren't bad. And they're not as bad as you think. It doesn't matter the grade of the book. It doesn't matter the type of book it is or what kind of book it is or the key that it is that when it comes from a certain book, if you give it to the right person that specifically knows how to target that specific thing and they can fix it, then you're in the money. I mean, that's it. And so everybody presses different. Nobody presses the same. Everybody has different methods. There's cold press, hot press. There's techniques where they stack books on top of it to try to get it as flat as possible and then press. Like, there's so many other ways of pressing that is out there, and it all goes into what you specifically want for that book. So you have to honestly examine your book. I mean, just really be honest and humble about the book yourself. And so, because some people will look at a book and be like, I know this is a 9.8, this is a 9.8, 100%, but just be so blind to the actual flaws that they don't see until they get the grade back. And then they flip it over and, color up on the spine. I can't believe I missed that. It's an easy mistake, but when we're so focused on getting the 9.8 that we just are blind to everything else, we don't see it until we get out of that 9.8 mindset and we look at it and just like, okay, see a little spine stretch right there. Okay, little potential dog ear, or, a little corner bend and stuff like that. Like, when you really take a step back and examine a book, you can really look at it and see, okay, if I submit this book right now, as it is right now, this book wouldn't get a 9.8. And so it just comes into that. And sometimes you can press, sometimes you can press a book and it can be all out, but it again depends on the grader. But don't feel bad, don't be down about it. And that's something that I kind of want to do, because as you can see, I don't have all the 9.8s in the world. I do have 9.8s, but there are some books that I am okay with being at a 9.6 or a 9.4 because of the value of that book, the potential of that book, as well as just the book is for my collection. So if it didn't get a 9.8, if it didn't get a 9.4, 9.6 or whatever, like, that's okay. I have the decision to either keep the book or sell the book, but it's not a loss on me. That's just the lesson of the game. You're not always going to get 9.8s, and that's a lesson that I think new collectors and old collectors need to kind of accept and move forward. Understand, you're not always going to get 9.8s. Like, it's great when you do, but when you don't make it feel like it's a bad thing or a horrible thing, because if that book is hot, it doesn't matter the grade. That book is always going to sell. That Miles in a 9.4, I bought that book in 2020 for $300, maybe $350. Look at that book now. That's a $900 to $1,000 book right now. Doesn't matter the grade. Like, it's literally right underneath the 9.6 and a 9.8. 9.8s are going for $3,000, $3K. You're telling me a 9.4 goes for $1,000? That's a $2,000 difference. So, I mean, it's really close. 9.6s are going for about $2,000. So, I mean, it's like, when you really think of the grade, depending on how hot that book is, it all matters on what that book is. And so if that book is hot and that book is a book that always will get value, then a 9.6, 9.4, 9.2, 9.0, it doesn't matter. That book is going to command a price. Like, I've seen books like that get 8.5s and still go for way more than just a regular 9.8 book goes for. Like, it just depends on the book. So don't really think that you lost or anything like that when it comes to getting 9.6 or 9.0s, because I think for those are just pressable matters. Even books below that or whatever, sometimes a lot of it is just a pressing matter. Like, I've seen books that go from 7.0s to a 9.0 with just a good presser, from a good presser, if they know what they're doing. So go out and, do your research, find the pressers, find who you like, look at their results, look at their photos, see what they can do with a book, and talk to them. Hey, I have this book here. It has this here. With your method, do you think you can get this book to be what I think the grade could be. It can be a 9.4, it can be a 9.6, or even a 9.2. Can you get this? Do you think you can get this book to that grade? If they say, yeah, no problem, cool, hey, then that's on you. Send the book in, put your money in it, and hope that it was a reward. That you get the reward out of it by, really building that relationship with the presser. Because then once you got that, then you have a presser that you can go to every single time, start name dropping, shouting them out. Hey, who pressed your books? That guy. Oh, word? What's his link? What's his Instagram? Go straight to him. Now you're doing business. That's all it is. But this is just a quick video, not a long video. Just talk about why 9.6 and 9.0s aren't as bad as you think. Just changing your mindset on them and just really being appreciative of the grades. Like at the end of the day, those books are always going to go up in value no matter what. If it's a hot book and it's a book of a popular character and a key book, like it's always going to go up from there and stuff. And a lot of circumstances have to be met for it to happen. But when it does happen, hey, what can you do? But thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see and you like what you heard, definitely click that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and remember the golden rule. Collect what you love, and love what you collect, and be safe, be vigilant.
Living life on the spectrum till it's rewarding.